The views expressed here are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent or reflect the views of the Cumulative Experience. The Cumulative Experience presents African Queen. I met her in anatomy class during my second year. I observed her for a week before I even spoke a word. Now, I watched her ass as it shook slowly whenever she walked down the aisle. She had one of those big auntie booties with that perfect shape topped off with those African waist beads. You know what I'm talking about. After a couple weeks of class and a few texts, I told her she could have a massage whenever she wanted, but I wasn't about to use my hands. We laughed it off, and to my surprise, exactly a week later, I got a text from her saying, "I'm ready for that massage." I had been living off campus at the time, and I jumped up so fast to get on that train, I was on UB South campus within minutes ready to get them African cheeks. I walked in, and I went to the third floor of Pritchard. I knocked on her door, and she opened it a quarter of the way, leaving her time to lay back on the bed as I slowly opened the door. Now, she laid on her bed with her legs wide open. I stood up looking at her curves in amazement. She had the body of a queen with not one stretch mark anywhere. Now, I slapped her left cheek to see it jump before I dove in, and she let out a moan mixed with an innocent giggle. I had never been so ready for sex in my life. And she quickly got to business on her knees. She licked all from the bottom of my balls to the tip of my dick while it pulsed ready to satisfy her. Her juices dropped on the floor when she stood up straight, and I put her on the bed to eat that fat, juicy African pussy. Now, I thought her sweet taste was just the same until I tasted her. It was like honey between her legs, and this only got me more excited. So I sucked on her clit some more, only to look up and see her grabbing her sheets in pleasure. I thought to myself, I got you now. I slowly rolled the condom on as she watched me with sex in her eyes. I slid right in and she let this deep moan out. I could hear the girls in the other room pause their conversation immediately. We had an audience and shit, I had to perform. I went slow as if I was making love to her as my dick merged into different lanes of her vaginal canal. After a couple minutes, she said, "Wait, baby, wait." I moved and lay on my back as she directed, while she stood up over my body and slowly lowered herself on top. She rode me like she was in the Kentucky Derby, and she wasn't far from the finish line because shortly after she got on top, she screamed, "Oh, fa, fa, fa!" While her whole body trembled and she closed her eyes, she tried to hold my chest, but her hands trembled too much for her grip, and she laid over me, fighting to catch her breath. I laid under her, feeling triumphant and satisfied, but, wanting more. As her breathing slowed, I heard a slight snore. She was knocked out. University of Buffalo, Pritchard Hall. Thank you for tuning in to the Cumulative Experience. Check us out at the